Hello, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters. I am Khurram Zahir Chishti, a certified NLP coach, and today I have a very interesting book about a person who's a millennium and he is a self made billionaire, Mark Zuckerberg. The author is Abham Abha Sharma, who herself is a very famous coach, has been writing many books. And the reason for the selection was that yeah, we all know a lot about Facebook, we all know a lot about Mark, but this uh, presentation, this video will bring the little known aspects related to this person. He is close to ages of many people. Everybody knows him, but there are certain aspects which everybody should know to draw inspiration from this great person. First of all, he was born to a father who in he was born in 14th May 1984, and to a father who was a dentist and a mother who was a psychiatrist. But his father had a deep interest in machines, so much so that in those days, in like mid 80s, he had got a very basic form of a computer, a large computer that was for $10,000. It was so big it was occupying a full section of the room, and they mostly, since he was a dentist and he was practicing just next to his home, so he would print receipts and print some records, office records from that printer. And later on, it was that computer where Mark actually started learning and experimenting with codes. So Mark, I said this video will bring the little known aspects. He knows five languages. He knows Hebrew, he knows Latin, he knows French, he knows Greek, and absolutely English. And given seeing his interest from a very early age in computers and always being a tech geek and tech into tech things, so his father employed a particular tutor, and Mark was able to write his first code at the age of 12. He created his first code, so much so that the house itself had its own intranet made by him. It called Zucknet. Now Zucknet what used to talk to his father when he was practicing, when he was in his clinic, and also among the family members. Mark, as I said, probably I used the wrong word. He was not a tech geek. He was also into other things. He was the captain of the school fencing team, a game that he was so fond of. In his Harvard application, he particularly wrote, "If fending is close to my heart, I love fending," and it was one of the reasons which he later learned made his application very strong. And I don't know, as I said, this is little known things. Mark is also colorblind. He's red and green colorblind, and he's also patient of autism. Many people these days are worried for their children being suffering from autism, but he was autism, and in fact, it's autism that made him have a very sharp focus. So it's a lesson to all the people with autism children. There's a special gifts which your children have. um, Over the years, he exhibited some very important qualities. Like he was strong-willed and relentless. If he started something, he would ensure that he ended, be it fencing, be it computers, be it reading. And he had a consistent desire to consistently learn and create. Mostly, he would learn these codes himself. Even during his high school days, he created something called a Snap Media Player, which was basically a media player whereby learning the user preferences with respect to the songs they hear, that app would recommend other songs which are similar to the song which if you're hearing sad song, you'll get more sad song. You're hearing more rock, you will get more rock music. It was like that. And so much so that he had offers up to around a million 950K for his app. So he went to a very elite school, which was Philip Alexander Academy, and he passed out in 2002. And I think there's a very famous video about his father filming what when he got into Harvard, he was opening the computer. His father actually filmed it. His father was ecstatic. His whole family was shouting, but he was confident. He was calm. Why? Because he knew he would make it. Also, as I said, his mother was a practicing psychiatrist, so he had a interest in psychology as well. In Harvard, one of his subjects was psychology, and in fact, as they say, and he mentioned in some interviews, that was an interest in psychology where he discovered that people have an inherent curiosity about other people's life, about what they are doing, and that's what led one of the reasons that led to Facebook and the content of his Facebook. And in Harvard, his dorm was a very famous dorm. It was dorm suite number H33 in Kindland House within Harvard. Harvard has many houses for hostels, and it was in Kirtland House. And in Harvard, he built websites for different teams, different clubs. He made a course match where if you take a particular course, psychology, you will get to know who are the other students taking psychology. So again, his interest in psychology made him connect. कि भाई, if you are taking a course, you are always interested who's taking it, who's a good student there, how what of competition would be. So he also made something called a face mask during Harvard, which basically put two uh, pictures together, and people had to comment who was looking hotter, who was looking cuter, and that gained a lot of popularity. In fact, notorious popularity, and then complaints were made, you know, it was being discriminatory and it was not having a healthy effect on the student body. And he, along with his friend Green, who helped him make this website, were reprimanded by the university. And Green was one of those people whose father told him not to be friends with the Mark. And later, when he was making Facebook, he invited five students, which you all know. He invited three of them turned up, two didn't. So Mark Green was one of them, but Green was one of his very good friends. And his creativity, his out of the box thinking could be gauged from the fact that once he had taken a course name called Rome of Augusta, and he did not study anything because over there you had to study like 200 artifacts, piece of arts, and then comment on them during your exam. But since he did not study, he was too much busy in coding and Facebook and his IT interest. He did not study. So what he did, I think 10 days before the exam, he made a website. He started putting from the course material. He started putting pictures of artifacts and asked people to comment. So that led to a very healthy discussion among students. They started commenting on the photos. This is right. This is not right. This is this. This is that. As a result, it managed to not only help him revise in a very interesting and a very engrossing manner, but he also passed the exam. So again, he was an out of box thinker from the start. And one of the very famous quotations, which I like to quote, which he said during one of the commemorations graduation ceremonies of Harvard, is that the idea of a single eureka movement is a dangerous lie. I will repeat. The idea of a single eureka movement is a dangerous lie. That is, your success comes from the freedom to make mistakes. And one of the challenges, one of the lessons that we can learn from him, he's not scared to make mistakes. He's always willing to admit, and I will comment more on it later. He experimented with mistakes and not afraid to make them. And honestly, in some situations, like when Facebook had some piracy issues and Facebook had some issues with respect to whether are they actually not making use of our information. So he publicly came, he admitted some mistakes, and then he took measures how to curtail them. We should all know and we should all remember that Facebook was not the only social media platform those days. Orchid was one of them, which I clearly remember. In 1997, there was a 6degree.com where users could list their friends, contacts. In 1999 came Napster, it was a musical social networking site. Friendster had 3 million users. MySpace, largest social media network from 2005 to 2008. So Harvard had specific Facebook, but not a united Facebook for the whole college. But the fact is that it was his vision and the very fact that he faced criticism and all the things that came in his way with a bold face and was single-mindedly focused on Facebook that led to the Facebook that we know today. Another very interesting aspect is personal life. He dated Priscilla Chan in Harvard, and the way he met him is that they were waiting outside a bathroom line in a waiting queue. They met him, they started talking, and the friendship continued, and we see them today. So, as I said, initially there were four Harvard students. Three of them were roommates who started it, and they included Edgardo Severin, who was an economics major. He came from a very affluent Brazilian family. In fact, he was the one who put in the initial capital for the servers when they needed. Andrew Macomb, he was experts in graphics, and Chris uh, Chris Guiz guys, and he was great in social media and handling the PR aspects. And there was also a person that initially then Facebook was meant to be just an online directory for Harvard, where only students of Harvard would find interesting information about themselves and others, and people would sign in, get their photos, tell their date of births and features. And all this was user control. You could control what you want to give, what others can see, and it was only for the Harvard University. Mark Zuckerberg himself was the fourth user that registered in Facebook. The first three were all testing accounts, which he used for testing his work. But as it came to Harvard, within 2 months, 75% of all the Harvard students had registered, and Mark could see the explosive impact this was having. But as I said, no success comes without its controversies. Within 6 days after the launch, a trio. It's a basically it's a twin. They are twin Tyre Winkinson and Cameron Winkinson, and another Divyam Narendra. They accused Mark of stealing their ideas. Basically, what had happened was that they came in December 2003, and they had heard Mark does great coding, so they wanted to Mark to do coding for their own website. As per them, Mark did not. Mark took their ideas and started working, but did not respond to them. And in Jan next year, 2004, he came up with his own Facebook, and they accused that he has taken the idea, he did coding for himself and gave it. It it went to various controversies, went to the university committee. So the twins that never had the people accusing Mark never had any success. So what they did, they went outside, filed a civil case against him. So this was eventually settled out of court for like $65 million, of which 20 million was in cash, and the rest were given as Facebook shares. And as earlier mentioned, Facebook is a example of a great teamwork, and there were people like Edgardo Severin. He came from affluent family. He gave initial capital for the servers. Crystal Hugs was a spokesman for the company. Was very good in social media and PR. And Mark and Dustin Mokozak. Dustin also was a great in coding, and in fact, Mark recommend often says that it was Dustin's workaholism that led to Facebook where it is, because he would just go continuously and keep working. As I said, Mark had his amazing focus on his own creation rather than attending to the competition. He started introducing Facebook to other universities, though every university had their own intranet where the people could communicate. But he started introducing. He went to Stanford, he went to Dartmouth, which had their sites, but they still, when they started using Facebook, they knew what entertaining. It was entertaining plus education plus what you make of it. So it started getting popularity, so much so that Facebook started getting popular in universities, and he getting started getting calls from other universities. Please come and have introduced this to our university. And as all this was going on, it was the spring of 2004, and Mark realized that, this he could see the potential in this idea, but he had a competition with his own completing his degree. So I think again, given the fact that he has this ability, he wants to finish what he starts, he knows what to give his time and energy to, so he decided he will take a semester off and work on Facebook. So, because he realized that Facebook is the next big thing, it's a risk taking ability could be gauged from the fact that he decided to take the semester off and then go full. And for that purpose, he rented a house on the west coast of United States. It was a ranch house in Plato Alto, Plato Alto, California, which is part of the Silicon Valley. Now that house has got a superstitious value. Okay, every tech entrepreneur rents that house and starts working on his idea over there, because they know, okay, Mark started and now see where is he. So as I said, ke, even as he focused on his idea so much and wanted to make his product so much better, ke, he would not give much regard to competition. When he realized in 2004, Wenny Chang had launched I2 Hub, which served to share data, he worked on his own. He got that idea and started working something on his own, which was Wirelog. And all these people worked as a team. They did not have a formal work ethic. They would work full nighters. There were times when they would party, and there were beer cans and pizza covers all over. But they had amazing ethics. They worked on a single table, but without talking to each other. They had their internet for talk to each other and deep focus on their own work, which led to what we know, which what to know. In July 2015, Sean Parker, again one of his team members, and became the first president. And he was a prodigy as far as the coding is concerned. He learned coding when he was 7 years old, great friend of Mark, and one of the people that Mark took along with him. So, as I said, challenges were frequent, and one he started developing as issues come in any team. In 2005, he started developing differences with the Severin, who was a CFO who came from affluent Brazilian family, gave the first. He froze their account. He even accused Mark of using the Facebook money for his personal funds. He went to the court as well. Again, it was settled out of court. Mark wanted money, so what could he do? He went to his parents, who were happy enough to give him $85,000 that they had kept for education, but he was not getting educated. Was allocated. He took a bet, put the money on Facebook, and first, in 29 July 2004, Facebook was incorporated in Florida. And then Mark started approaching outside, because to scale any startup, you need funds. So started approaching. That time, Facebook had begun to get popularity. People knew its potential. So that is why Peter, the co-founder of PayPal, loaned around $500,000. He is he even met Mark, went and met Don Graham, who impressed him a lot. He was very impressed with his idea, and he was willing to give him $6 million for 10% stake, and he wanted a board seat. But Mark was hesitant to give a board seat because that would mean dilution his own decision making in the company. So as he was looking for more investors, he was introduced to ASL partners, who gave double the money. They were willing to give $13 million. And Mark was also sick. Anybody would prefer 13 million over 6 million. So Mark, his ethics were so strong. He went to Don Graham. He spoke to him. He said, "Okay, sir, see, you're giving 6 million. I'm getting more than double your money. So if you allow, can I go with him? With the other person, ASL Partners." Eventually, Don agreed, and now Mark went with ASL Partners and even offered them a board seat. The reason being, ASL Partners in similar line of business of tech, and he believed if he gave them the relevant position, their expertise and their experience of tech would help him. So he had the right reason. And then his team got expanded, and he even had a particular person hired for the HR function. And the person was Robin Reed, who introduced Mark to meditation, to yoga. And Mark particularly went to India to ashram, where he stayed for 2 weeks and practiced and learned meditation and yoga, and all these things helped him to get a sharper and a peaceful mind. As Mark kept saying, his profile is not a normal corporate profile. He looks for people who are willing to experiment, willing to make mistakes, and as his own words, hackers' way of doing things. I want people with a mindset, with a hacker's way of doing things. Traditional often timing are not followed. People work all nighters. People work for days on end. They do party, but probably once they have achieved their objectives, Mark initially would hold meeting in shorts, and was sort of, as we say in the corporate world, unprofessional dressing. But then later on, when Facebook began to rise and he began to see who is he, began to face the media. He hired executive coach, and then he followed people like Don Graham, and just see how they dress up and how they talk, and he picked those things, and now he faces media and everybody with great confidence. So uh, things went on, but as I said, uh, his own personal interest, he included he has taken trip, he has visited many countries. He After Facebook, he acquired WhatsApp on in Feb 2014 for 19 billion, and again his bet paid off. Facebook, WhatsApp is a very important part of everyday's life. So to sum up, I will just mention a few key lessons that we can draw from Mark. First of all, he gave himself and his people freedom to make mistakes. Don't make mistakes as much as you can, but don't make the same mistake twice. Learn from it and make a different mistake. Learn from your mistakes. He stood like a rock against criticism, and even when there were protests due to his face march inside the university, he was taken to courts, but he did not give up. He had this single-minded focus, because he knew his cause, and he had the purpose with him. He had to make one connecting world through Facebook. Then, even he was always willing to accept his mistake. Even when there were piracy issue in Facebook, he wrote blogs admitting his mistake and took measures so that those things do not happen. Facebook had enough issues about inappropriate applications. He was told to make Senate. He faced all that with a smile and came out of it. He's a great philanthropist, just like any other top billionaire in the world. He is joined the Giving Pledge along with Bill and Gates. He is famous for setting a personal agenda every year. For example, he had a personal goal to read a book every week. Per- In 2015, he made a goal. He will read a new book every 2 weeks, and a thank you note for him. He in 2007 he wanted to visit every state. He visited every state of America. So he spends time with his family, and the very fact is that there are great lessons to learn from his life, which is all adhered to. So thank you very much. Appreciate if you could share, if you can like and subscribe my channel. Thank you.